sharing on my computer, so don't worry. Even though it's recording right now, I'm going to cut the beginning half off.
You promise?
I think so. Hi, Grognard, the young Grognard, kicking your tail alive with the next episode in the Beckons of the Herald of Steel campaign, with the first quest of the newest and final adventure in the whole campaign. The adventure being the Herald, and the quest being the past. Yeah, we're starting off hot like a buttered biscuit right on this one. We are jumping into the heat of battle. A little backstory before we hop into it. Not the full 2 hour long backstory, just 1 hour. So anyway, it all began. No, I'm just kidding. So in the last episode, we ended up dealing with Cherishezdarun, and our party had hopped on their flying wave wraith, and we're following the boats back to Glorywake. In order to sort of summarize what happens in the interim there, the party stopped by Glorywake to see what can be salvaged. See, unfortunately, not much. The orcs are led by the Wave Wraith and their leader, as well as their survivors from Glorywake, in one big exodus on their way, following the main road, past the Elvish lands, past all that stuff in Solthide, and making their way all the way to the Quarrydale. It's a long, long time to get there. And by the time the entirety of this group returns, they're not only greeted warmly, but are also greeted with the very unfortunate sight of seeing the sort of the scars all across Quarrydale, the remnants of mass battles that had taken place. They find out very quickly from the Gnomish Council that the Herald of Steel's forces in this area are being led by the Queen, Kalaskai at this point. And sort of, I guess they've just beaten them back as best as they can. But from what you can see from all the destruction, it has been hard fought and hard won victories. But judging by the fact that the only surviving sort of a landmark out here is Endton, all other places have pretty well fallen. This is the last hope for Ameroth. And it seems like everybody knows this. With the goblins, the dwarves, the people of Ameroth, the people of Glorywake, the elves who have showed up, the orcs who are here now, the survivors from Cordale, and the Azkaban soldiers. I mean, this place is pretty well packed to the gills with all the refugees and all the people from these distant lands. Some of them trained and ready for fighting, and some of them refugees who barely made it here alive in the first place. But from what you guys gather from intel from the King of Azkaban himself, as well as from the gnomes and the people of Corydale, this is likely the quiet, the calm before the big storm here. You guys are sort of in the eye of the tornado right now, recognizing that all the time that it took for you to get here, it's been time for them to rebuild and build up all the resources for one final grand slam on what is left of the people of Ameroth. Coming from all walks of life, you guys are kind of stuck here in one little melting pot of culture and one crevice right here on the coastline, and it does not look good. But knowing the war is on the horizon, the party have very little option here other than to hopefully beat back the Queen with what could possibly be the strongest force of troops she's had to muster and bring to the table. And at this point in time, you guys have had many allies come from many different spaces to come help you. But again, it could be that they're here to help, or it could be that they've got nowhere else that they're possibly able to go to. So at this point in time, I guess my question is, with 1 week's worth of time to prepare while you guys are here in Endton, what would each of your characters like to do for this week while we've got the time to prepare before we jump into the heat of battle?
I guess I'll start. Norhill is going to begin a full week long brutal boot camp for any of the foot soldiers who have arrived and want to fight. And he's specifically going to teach them techniques for like forming phalanxes and shield walls. Any people fighting with pole arms, how to properly, set and prepare themselves for a charge. that sort of thing. Help the fighters fight more defensive.
Okay. So what I'm gonna let you do is I'm gonna suggest that the dwarves are automatically gonna get this bonus, and I'm gonna just give a +1 to the defensive rating of each of the units that are considered dwarves, including both the ballistas and the catapult teams. So they're gonna be armed and prepared to use their own, mass weaponry as its own defensive post if they have to, such as hiding behind the equipment or fighting from within it in order to defend themselves. But what I'm going to allow you to do now is picking which groups you would like to train first. What I'm going to allow you to do is basically roll a skill check. And for each one of them that you succeed on, you can continue to train the next group over. So we're going to suggest this as sort of your ability to see how well you can balance your time and effort amongst multiple groups. And as long as you don't fail, you can continue on to the next one and attempt to teach them as well. So if you roll really well, the entire army of all the conjoined peoples here could get a bonus, or you could whiff it on the first one and find out that all the time it takes to teach the dwarves is just, it's too much. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So which
then,
group would you like to train?
so the dwarves automatically, right? I don't even have to start with them.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's see. It looks like a big majority of our forces are Ascabelan. So we in Norhill will start with them.
Okay.
What
So
kind
what
of
I'm
check
going to
did
have
you
you
say it was
do,
again?
I didn't. I'm going to let you choose which one of the social ability scores you'd like to roll for, and I'll let you add your level as a bonus.
Okay, let's see. Did I take intimidation it looks like, because that's the one that I took proficiency in. So
Well,
Norhill
no,
is
no, no. I
gonna be
mean, I meant more so you can pick one of the abilities like charisma, wisdom, or intelligence.
charisma then, because that's the one that I have a bonus into.
Okay.
All right, so the D20 plus my level is gonna give me a 13.
Okay. And is that plus your charisma modifier?
Yep.
Okay. So in that case, the Ameroth, the people from Azkaban are in fact able to learn a thing or two from what you have to teach them defensively, and already being incredibly stacked defensively. These guys get quite a bonus from this.
So all of the Ameroth, not just the melee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes their rating go from 3 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I change that in the document?
Yeah, I changed it in my document as well. So now who would you like to be the second one to learn?
Okay, let's see. Who else is pretty big? So Norhill's going to do um are the quarry folk. They could probably use a little help.
Okay. So I'll let you do this again, but the DC score is going to be a little harder this time.
Well, that time it was a 12.
12 total?
Yep.
You are
I
very
rolled
lucky
two.
because
I
12 is
rolled a
what
big fat 2 on the die.
well, 12 is what you needed.
Nice.
Okay. So now we can go on to the next group.
Let me just change that real quick. Okay. So next will be the Amerothians.
Okay.
Okay, that was a little better with an 18.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess you keep rolling through this. Yeah, they learn as well. There aren't too many people left who need to be taught, I guess, other than the orcs and the elves.
With Jarzak's permission, Norhill would like to train the orcs.
You would save the elves for last.
Well, it makes sense to save the elves for last.
Yeah, you have Jarzak's permission.
We gotta have one of those potions somewhere, right?
Just throw it at Norhill.
Just sneak it into his morning beer.
Norhill got a 16 to teach the orcs how to fight defensively.
Okay. So at this point in time, having spread yourself thin across so many different groups of troops, you're not able to actually teach the orcs at this point. So I'm imagining that with like all the old timery grognardy dwarves that are like ancient veterans of warfare who can't physically fight have been just grumbling and following you around and helping teach everybody who can hold a weapon or wear armor how to do it better, and just grumbling at people that they're not doing it well enough. And by the time it came around to orc training at the end of the week, everybody was just so exhausted, and the orcs had already been doing whatever Jarzak was making them do for so long that they just, you couldn't properly spread your resources across that far. Still, good show though, because I mean, was not
Charging
ready
and
for
hit him.
the,
Got it.
yeah, the Esgabellans really benefited from this one, just going out there in their shining full plate. Now they're like, we only fail on a 1. And you're like, oh, good, great. Okay, so now who's next for their week-long efforts?
I guess Klika can go. I think every day Klika's gonna ask that whoever's leading each sort of squad of soldiers sends like 1/7 of their squad to this common amphitheater ground for an hour, and during that hour Klika will use her ability to speak every language and have all of the troops and she'll make sure that they don't sit in groups of like their own troop. They sort of get split up, so it's just sort of like one orc, one elf, one goblin, one Ascabellan, one Avian, just
Right.
across. So like you don't know the people you're sitting next to, and she'll spend an hour sort of with Starbreeze's help. He's on instrumentals in the back at key moments, sort of retelling the tale of her party and just all the places they've been, how it got to the point they're at now, like everything that's happened and like what they're all really fighting for. So just trying to remind everybody that the person next to you is gonna be there out on that field with you, and this is why we're fighting today.
Okay. I'll let you pick one of the troops to be the one to receive the and I am going to do this based on the separate groups, just because some of them might be a little bit less willing to, I don't know, hear your message, or it might be harder for them depending on what they've lost or had to go through. So we'll let you pick which group will be the one to get the immediate morale bonus.
Just who would be the most likely to sit and listen?
I guess Klika will probably pick the Amerothians because they were the ones who this all started out for. That's where Klika spent most of, I guess, like her adventure and kind of like her life was working under the idea that she was helping them. So
Okay. So could you now pick one of your social skills to use and roll and add your level as a bonus to it?
yeah, I mean they're all 8, so it doesn't matter which one.
Well, so isn't your bonus. So let's see what we got.
We'll do just for kicks. We'll do charisma because technically Klika's a sorcerer. If anyone asks, the feds show up and look for the papers. Klika is a sorcerer.
Well, like, isn't she just a weird like fighter with a magical dagger? Like, no,
No,
she's really not. So
Uh,
who's the first?
that's a 23.
Yeah, who was it?
Do I have to pick one of the Amerothians? Like their specific
No.
troops?
I'm doing the same thing that I did for Norhill, where you pretty much go down the line of picking who we want to give this morale bonus to next, so long as you pass your checks.
Oh, so I got that one for, I got Amerothians for free. I see what you're saying. Okay, then I guess the second would probably be the quarry folk, because Klika's also spent a lot of time. Well, at least she feels like she spent a lot of time with all these shorties.
Mm. Very well. Okay, so who's next?
And after that, she'll try for the orcs because she feels the closest to Jarzak and hopes that that extends through her stories. And that's a 19.
Okay. So the orcs feel bolstered in their morale by your stories about how awesome and tall Jarzak is. So who's next?
We'll do, I guess, the dwarves. Klika will try to appeal to how long she's traveled with Norhill and what little she's picked up of dwarvish customs.
Good luck.
Ooh, that's only an 11.
And that's where the buck stops. They're just like, who the fuck is this Penny girl? And why does she keep yelling to us about Norhill? Like, yeah, we've met him. All right. So now who's next?
It's Anton.
Okay. What's Anton's goal for the week?
I had a few goals. There was a few goals. One of them, it was 3-part goal. One of them, make sure we had enough food and water resources in case we ended up in a siege situation and we didn't want everyone to starve because we have a lot of people to feed. Second was finding and establishing escape routes for like the children, the elderly, anyone who's not best to fight either by boat or underground, some way to get them from the opposite direction of the battlefield if things start to push us back toward the shoreline. And the third was, this might be where the skill comes in, is teaching anyone or utilizing the skills of other clerics of Glorywig to give everyone knowledge of medicine, basic first aid kit sort of knowledge, how to bandage a wound, how to splint broken bone, things of that sort, just so if someone does fall on the battlefield, they're not considered down right away.
Okay. Are you trained with medicine?
I believe I am, but let me triple check. Oh shit!
Wouldn't it be funny if you're not? You're like, just believe in
Yeah,
God.
I'm trained with medicine.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll have you do a medicine check. I'm assuming the people of Glory Wake, this is going to be where individual units are actually important. And we'll actually put like a special colored ring on whoever is capable of healing. So we're going to say that the people of Glory Wake automatically get that because there's going to be healers in their midst. And then we'll have you train other groups in how to heal. And we're going to do medicine checks like everybody else got.
I think just to make sure we're being useful, I think first let's give one to like one of the elven groups. Elves that's not beginning
Received
gloves, though.
no help. Just the elves who have decided to give up everything else that they've had, and they're like, you know what, we should come here to help these poor people, and you guys are like, nerds.
Am I just rolling just a straight medicine check?
We got a lot of faces, and they don't look good.
Sorry, I might have dropped. I wasn't sure. Am I rolling a medicine check?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I think my Wi-Fi is coming out. One
Oh,
second.
good.
I
Perfect.
know I can't do much about that. I'm sorry. 1 second. We got 12.
Okay, so yeah, you managed to teach one of the elven groups how to do some field medicine. Okay, so who's next? It's only going to get harder from here.
I would say the Cory folk, since they're gonna most likely be, from what I could tell from their strategic location, they'll most likely be the closest to like women and children. If they get hurt in any way, they get their immediate attention.
Okay, let's roll another medicine. I also appreciate that you went for the elves first, knowing that out of all the peoples here,
48.
Jesus, they are your closest neighbors.
Yeah.
Just making political moves. Everybody here is really playing some political games right now. This is like a presidential race. We're like, speaking of the right groups, eating the pie at the right diner. It's the best pie in the country.
Oh man.
Okay, so who would be the next to be taught?
I'm just looking at something really quick. 1 second.
Orcs, Azkabellans, goblins, dwarves, Amerothians.
I'm trying to think of. Let's give it to the. Anton's gonna make a political move. He's gonna give one to the orcs.
I like how he's like, hey, friends. Hello, fellas.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, let's
Remember
see what
that
you
time
got.
you put
He's
all
gonna
my
put his
people in a
rage
cave?
behind him. He's gonna put his rage behind him. Let's see if he
All right,
does.
what do you got?
11.
So you try to teach the orcs, but the orcs are very confused by this idea of stopping the bleeding of wounds, as they're much more accustomed to causing the bleeding wounds, and thus they don't really wrap their head around this concept. And Jarzak assures them that bleeding is a sign of bravery, and they decide to lift their noses up and away in a most porcine manner away from Anton and his silly Red Cross techniques. Very good. And that leaves Jarzak, the master
Oh,
tactician,
shit.
with his last little bit here to help everybody out.
I was gonna have Jarzak like help out training how to fight, but I think he would more do morale boosts and try and like hype
think
people
so.
up. Oh
I
yeah,
have a suggestion actually.
he'd be like a hype man for the orcs. Just, you guys got this. We'll get the most kills.
I say do some espionage work. Learn more about the enemy, about sneaking behind the enemy lines and deceiving them.
There is total ability right now to do anything you want to prep for this. I mean, you guys just, everybody here has decided to be home basey about it, but I mean, Jarzak could very well take groups of orcs and do scouting, routing missions, and get an idea of what you guys are dealing with. I could bring a couple of dragons out to this battlefield. Nobody would know because nobody's ever seen what's coming. It's a
Jarzak, just go
powerful move for you
fishing.
guys just to like
Yeah,
you guys
so
just
there's
fishing.
these rivers and lakes, or is that an ocean? That might be an ocean.
That is the ocean.
I've never caught anything out of a river before though, so
So Jarzak goes fishing for a week, and all of the orcs have their morale boosted by a very well needed vacation.
Jarzak just tries to complete his fishing encyclopedia. There's
Or
gotta
that-
be a special reward for catching every type of fish, right?
There's one for birds. There's gotta be one for fish.
yeah. Yeah, I guess I could go on like scouting missions too, but
I mean, you could do anything you want with this. You could do that. You could set up fortifications, defenses, traps. I don't know. The battlefield is your oyster. You could train people how to fight too, with like boosting attack for different units too. That's always an option as well.
yeah, like I'll do that as well as be a little bit of a hype man, and I'll essentially just tell every group that the other group thinks they're gonna do better, and I'm like, you guys got this. There's no way. You guys are so strong.
Okay. In that case, I'll let you. I am imagining you're going to do charisma plus your level, and we'll do that as your check.
Sure.
So who's the first unit you're gonna boost for their attacks?
Orcs, 100%.
I mean, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
Jesus, Orc Melee is not here to fucking play. I have a solid 3-2 attack rating in my file right now. This is not. Uh-oh.
Next.
Orc Melee misses only on a 1.
Next, I'll do the elves next. Actually,
Ooh, a power move. Those
Uh,
nerds from Gloryway get no love.
yeah, Jarzak liked the elves adventure, so
You guys had a good quest.
yeah, he
I
thought
like
it was
quests where I get
fun.
to
He
kick
thought it
people.
was funny that Norhill was so mad he was an elf. So that's all that matters.
Okay. In that case, go ahead and roll the charisma modifier plus your level. Unless you fumble.
Plus your level, 28.
Holy smokes.
I got a 19, so the second highest I could get.
Damn. Okay. Next.
Or no, I got a 14 on the dice, but yeah. Next group, I will go with. I'll go with the dwarfs.
Very well. I wonder if the curse of trying to teach
No.
orcs is gonna...
No, I'll go with the quarry folk. Sorry, I didn't realize they were there.
Okay.
Those guys have been pretty enjoyable for Jarzak too. That's
Have you
a
just teach?
31.
Okay. Yeah, I think you passed on that.
Okay, the dwarfs will be next.
Okay.
It's
This is really boosting you guys' numbers. I'm surprised nobody thought to do anything other than just the boosting, but like it's probably gonna pay off way better in the end to do it this way, but
27.
good luck setting up formations. What'd you get?
27.
Jesus.
Okay, next I will go with I'll go with Ameroth next.
Okay.
That's low. 17.
Okay, 17 is not enough at this point. So Jarzak has effectively taught half the army how to fight better just by saying the enemy is weak. I don't know how that really works out, but somehow he managed to lie to them so good that the enemy does somehow get worse at defending themselves.
I mean, I teach them how to swing the weapon or something a little too, but let's just be like, no, never mind. You guys don't even need this.
So, at this point, just to give a brief description of the battlefield here, the city of Endton lies at the end of the Dale's End Road. It is sort of surrounded by a series of wetlands and rivers. It is a walled city. It has enough capacity to fit quite a lot of people. Traveling through the city is going to move you at half speed, just so you guys know that. And surrounding the place are plenty of thickets of forest as well as rocky outcroppings. There are 2 sections of hills, one to the east and one to the west, that border the road. Towards the southern end of Endton, there are a series of farming communities, which have worked for the longest time as the major source of food and the major sort of source of production for basically the survival of the people of Endton. And these are definitely to be preserved and protected to the best of the ability that one can. Yeah, As far as rivers go, there are 2 makeshift bridges that have been constructed on the Reedwash River, which is the southernmost river here, that sort of bisects the rest of the land from the city. The Zanzibar Bridge, however, is the largest stoneworked bridge, which an entire army unit can march across comfortably. Yeah, there is a small tower that is to the south of the Zanzibar Bridge. It's this big, ugly circle-looking thing. It itself can hold 1 unit as well, and it looks out over the land as something of a lookout, effectively doubling the range of anything that can be inside of it when it's shooting. I'm trying to think if there's any other major points here. Yeah, apart from that, I mean, there's plenty of thickets of forest. They're going to make it difficult for anybody to shoot into it or fighting within it, but make for great cover. The wetlands are going to take twice as much to move through them. But yeah, so after making the decision to stay within the city's limits and practice and train and sort of work on all the good stuff that we can to boost our little army here, we did not spend much of any time prepping and looking for like scouting missions as to what the enemy might hold for us. So the day that the enemy arrive, they arrive nice and early, and they send out something of an initial scouting party when they do. When they do, it seems that they have in their ranks, as they come down over the hill, they have with them something of like a caller, somebody who has sort of like a loud horn, and they have a couple of people waving banners. On the morning of the assault, I'm going to let you guys move your units as to where you want to have them. But before there's any sort of major battle to take place here, it sounds like they're sort of calling for somebody to maybe meet in the middle for something of like a parlay, or maybe to meet and speak about potential important details or anything like that. Perhaps some sort of diplomacy before this fight begins. How will you guys respond to this?
So before I answer that question, so we're not able to do a deployment from where our units are right now before the battle without like actually having to worry about movement and stuff, right?
No, not necessarily. We haven't moved all our stuff around on here yet, but I'm assuming everybody's in camps around the city or within the city's limits. So we're going to just pretend everything that's out here is not actually spread out like that. And you guys are within the city walls. Nobody anticipated an entire party to march up at this point. So these guys take you kind of by surprise.
Quick question about scale. Every square is 100. Did you just say yep?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay. All right. I just need that. Well, we could probably just go out there and see what they want, right?
What's the etiquette for how many men you can usually bring to a parlay?
Well, that's where the role play comes in. At this point, it's kind of like whatever rules you guys want to use, however you want to play this is up to you. Normal etiquette for this sort of thing. I mean, this is a little different than a common battle. This is the gathering of major armies. So it's like if you guys are under the impression they're not going to play nice, it might make sense to send an entire army to greet them. Or if you guys actually believe that they want to parlay and not just kind of like, I don't know, pull you out of your hole for some dirty, dastardly reason, it's all about how Norhill would approach warfare as like a fine art.
If it's the queen leading them, I don't trust her.
You guys
So
haven't really seen
where
those.
on this map are we thinking that they're trying to meet?
They're going to be meeting on the road by the tower.
Okay.
Judging by where you, right. As of right now, you can't really tell who it is out there. You just see an amassed group of troops.
So Norhill is going to suggest that everybody bring an honor guard of at least 1 unit.
Okay. You said
So,
unit.
like Norhill will bring a unit of dwarves. Klika will pick whoever she wants. I'm sure Anton will bring people from Glory Wake, and Jarzak will bring orcs.
Okay.
And then
So representative
also
groups.
suggests that we bring a handful of units of cavalry to hide up in this forest next to the tower, just in case things go south.
I mean, for what it's worth, you won't be able to hide them because they'll see you guys coming pretty well. The elevation is really not in your favor.
You're in elevation.
Okay, so
Good.
if we can't catch them by surprise, scratch the cavalry part. Everybody should bring an honor guard, though.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Are all of the units on the map currently for our forces in the city or about the city?
I assumed because of how many there are, they're actually going to probably be sort of spread out around the wall.
I
in,
just mean
small
like
encampments.
none of these are going to be surprises that show up mid-battle.
Hmm.
Okay. Klika will take Tartharja, as that will be the unit Klika will be sticking with.
Okay. Tartharja is not of the most sound mind at this point in time and requires much assistance. But yeah, so you guide the dragon out with you guys in the honor guard. And as the dragon follows you guys down the Dale's End Road, the unit that you saw in the distance seems to come to much more of a clear vision. And what you see before you are the same looking bandit like soldiers that Norhill had had the unfortunate run in with before. And seeing them in their full force now, there's a unit of at least 400 or 500 of them total, just sort of kind of squatted together in a makeshift sort of caravan. And one of them stands out in the front with his own sort of honor guard to him. Seeing the dragon approaching, you can tell that they are all very uneasy and have weapons drawn. And the leader in the front sort of stands there in a very confident strutting pose, wearing very colorful attire and dressed more like a nobleman than anything. So at this point, you guys are about 100 feet away from each other, well within screaming distance.
Norhill will appoint one of the dwarves, unless somebody else from the party would rather have their own herald to go announce the entire party's many names and titles.
I could also cast message, so we don't have to like lose our voices.
No. You see, Anton, the shouting is a part of the ritual.
What? Is it
It's
just
beautiful, actually. So one lackey dwarf rushes up to them, and
The loudest dwarf.
right. Old bellowing belly boy. He rushes up and he starts yelling their titles aloud for all to hear. And at the end of it, the person in attendance on the other side from the Kingdoms of the Thieves, he nods respectfully and he offers yeah, Billy Belly Boy, a single scroll, and he hands it over. And Billy Belly Boy rushes back to Norhill, takes a knee, and hands it over to you. And what is written on this note is something of a, how do I want to say this? An interesting offer. On this, it basically says it's a signed and written agreement of allegiance for this coming fight. And there's an understanding that they will assist you for 20,000 gold. This entire group are willing to fight on your behalf. They say that they've seen the enemy army, they recognize what they're capable of, and they're willing to offer their services to you and your leadership for 20,000 gold.
Norhill will share this information with the party, but say, never trust mercenaries. They're loyal to you until someone else with more gold approaches.
Well, I mean, he's the Herald of Steel, not the Herald of Gold. How much money could he have?
Money do we?
Jarzak.
Uh, guys, I hate to tell you this, I have a bit of a gambling addiction.
Dwarf wrestling really consumed Jarzak's life in a big
It
way.
was double or nothing quite a few times.
He kept betting against Kick.
And Gig always won. I don't the odd like a 30 to 1, I would have made so much money. No, I'm checking my inventory.
Sad.
Ensign just shrugs. He's like, I don't really have much. I don't have that much to spare, but I have a little bit to spare.
Yep, we don't have that much.
Opening your own pockets, writing out a check for 20,000 gold. Just like a bunch of weirdos. Here's 20,000 gold to leave us alone.
I mean, if we put them in the front line, do we have to pay them?
Well, the guy who's getting the money's not fighting, so
Yeah, and that's one guy.
Well, I think we actually need some info on that. If we don't pay them, what's their role here? Are they just gonna join like the Herald, or are they just gonna ditch?
good question now, isn't it? So that's the
Alright.
beauty of mercenaries. And just like Norhill said, it's whoever pays the most money.
I mean, do we want to talk to them? Because if they don't help us, I mean, what's their other option? Being controlled by the Herald of Steel?
Yeah. We have to prove to them
That
money.
is true. And the fact of the matter is that they came to us, not the enemy.
Well, yeah, because if they went to the enemy, they would be on his side already, being controlled.
Well, you don't know
I
that.
mean, we don't know that they didn't also just split their forces half and half.
That is
Sounds funny.
true.
Just desert both sides. Take all the fucking money and run.
Later,
Yeah, bandit
nerds.
life, baby.
It's all coming up, bandits.
We know that these people have done things with demons in the past. That's what they unleashed when we encountered them on the road. I don't know. Klika doesn't think that that's something you come across easily.
Well,
There are too many unknowns and what ifs for me to feel comfortable just giving them the money to fight for us.
we don't even have the money.
I mean, we
You
do also
don't.
have like an entire city with coffers right behind us.
Yeah, we don't say that out loud that we don't have the money for them. What if they're listening?
We're not screaming this conversation, I hope.
Yeah, they gave us a
Big belly boy.
scroll. They could have put magic. I don't know how that works.
Jarzak has no trust of anything. Just starts tearing up the scroll, beats up Big Belly Boy. They bugged him.
Traitor.
But okay. So with that, Big Belly Boy is going to tell them what?
I think it wouldn't be bad if one of us went to go talk to him.
Okay.
Who
Do-
volunteers?
Well, I will go.
Morrill slugs him in the nose. Fuck you, bandit.
Jarzak, this is probably a good chance for you to get some kingly experience, right?
Yes.
Oh, you
I'll
did
just
before, remember?
Copy what Norhill does.
Well, actually, Anton, you need to brush up as well.
Okay, so we're all going.
Yeah, it sounds like it. We all go to.
Okay,
Oh,
this
for
is a
that.
trap. That's bad for our troops.
It's actually just a big illusion. There's just a Tarask.
Got
This
us
was an easy
again.
fight. But
Our guards aren't far away, and we did bring a dragon.
We can leave.
All right, well,
So-
let's go then. Have a chat.
okay, so the party approached the leader here, and the leader nods. And he says, I am here on behalf of the kings of the south, the rings of gold, and the leaders bejeweled. We offered you our alliance in this upcoming battle for a measly price of 20,000.
What guarantees would you bring to this bargain that you will act honorably in it and not turn your coat the moment somebody can offer more?
He takes a very sour look upon his face and he says, a contract is a contract and a deal is a deal. If I am signed to your side, it shows a level of confidence that we will win this day. I wouldn't send my beloved friends and family to their doom so that I might profit off of it. Would I?
Open that flask on your hip right now.
Demons all fly
Demon
out.
closet.
Quick, immediately
All
get sucked
heavens.
in again. No.
It's standard issue, god damn it. But with that, he just says, I'm here because we have confidence in your victory. I'm looking past what had happened before.
You tried to steal me.
What?
Pretty sure Jarzak held the cup.
Yeah. What other option do you really have other than to help us? Just wait your turn to die?
And that he kind of just cocks his head back and starts chuckling. And then he lets out a raucous laugh. And then he looks back down with a strange drawing noise and he says, how funny it is to assume all of us have such a dour and doom-filled existence. Perhaps you have drawn an unfortunate hand. Me, my benefactors, and my friends, patrons, and the like are doing just fine. Today is not a good day to be Amerothian or any other of you people, but we will do just fine.
Then why come here and help us? You're doing just fine.
I wouldn't expect a common holy man to understand the finer points of economics and investments, nor the political gains of an early allegiance with people who need it most. 20,000 gold is not much to ask on the doorstep of the one last bastion of safety in this land. Surely you can see that.
I need to do a check. 1 second.
So,
Can I do like
What
an
will it be?
insight? Is this guy
okay.
bullshitting me?
Yeah, go ahead. Roll an insight.
Ooh,
I got 10.
Norhill rolled a dirty 20.
Okay. I mean, this guy seems to be. Wait, what did you get, Ronnie?
10.
Oh, very good. And this guy seems to actually be meaning what he said. Apparently, there's money to be made here, and he thinks he believes in you guys.
All right. Your answers ring true. However, I would add to the deal that your sum will be paid after the battle is won.
And with that, he says, no. You will bring the money to me and my guard, and we will leave. The soldiers will come back with you to the camp.
A percentage up front. And then you can return after the battle when it is safe to do so.
Very well. 80%, 20 to be paid to the men.
60 up front, still 20 for the men, the rest after.
I won't be here for the day of battle. 75. You give them the rest.
Very well. Here's a bar.
Damn.
Norhill spits in his hand and offers it to Shake.
He
Klika
looks to
spits
you.
in her hand, but didn't
Jarzak
realize.
just reaches out his hand to shake.
I actually
He's
have
like, I spit on it earlier.
but more for the group. Like, how are we getting this money? Like, this isn't our money. This is the people's money. Why are we taking the people's money? They might not agree to this. They need that money for themselves.
We agreed for them.
We are not spending the money on national defense. We're not going to get a chance to spend it elsewhere.
Money.
So with that, the group go back to the city. They are able to relinquish money from the coffers of the people of Corydale. How much money was coming from your stash?
Let's see here. In total, counting.
25 gold.
Let's see. In total, counting gemstones that Norhill's been carrying for the entire of the campaign. Let's see. It's that. Let's see, plus another that. Plus that. Norhill can offer 1,174.
Please tell me Jarzak has more money than that.
Jarzak doesn't have any of the gemstones anymore.
Why not?
I think we used them and gave them to someone, didn't we? Or a lot of them. Yep. So yikes, guys.
So with
It's
that,
the people's
party
money.
returned.
I can do 2,000 gold
Where did you get
I mean-
2,000 gold
from the platinum we have.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh.
know Klika has 65 platinum, so
Oh.
she can at least give up 60 of that. So that's another 600.
So, okay, so roughly from the party, we've got roughly 5,000 in
I only
pocket
have
change and
16
pocket
gold,
cushions.
so
3,774.
Okay. So the party returned back to the city and mentioned this. The Gnomish Council, the Color Council there, are very upset to hear how much money this is going to cost and recognize that the amount of troops that they're getting in return are nowhere near as valuable as what you guys are willing to pay. But reluctantly, under your direction, they all agree to it and offer over platinum and gold bars in stacks.
Oh, I mean, we
And-
only have to give 75% up front. And then if
That's
we,
15,000.
yeah, and then,
I mean, 15,000 rather.
yeah, and then if we just sort of don't pay out, we say we gave the same amount to every soldier, but we give, more to some and less to a lot of them. We could probably get away with only paying them like 15% out of the 25. Perfect.
Oh, your goal here is to pay the leader enough to make it seem legit.
Yeah,
And then after the battle, kill off all the losers who stuck around and were part of the contracted deal.
what the fuck?
I never said that. I just said don't say we're gonna pay every soldier individually after the battle and then give certain soldiers less.
I mean, could we
very
just
well.
delay long enough that they're in the way of the Herald of Steel and have to fight?
And then that way they
So-
have no idea if those individual soldiers pocketed some and said they didn't get enough. Because if we give the correct amount to some of the soldiers, they'll be like, I got the right amount. So I don't know about those guys. We see the, seeds of doubt.
Yeah, honestly, what could go wrong? Okay, so with that, a whole group of the war party and soldiers pack up the giant chest full of platinum and gold bars, jewels, and heirloom trinkets and artifacts, and bring them over to this leader and exchange them. And all of the troops now begin to head their way towards your side of the battlefield. And at this point, the leader gives you guys a very kind gesture and a nod and says that this action will not be forgotten, and they hope that in the future they'll be able to do such mutually what's the word I'm looking for? Mutually benefiting moves. So at this point, war is on the horizon. Now I guess you guys are fully free to move your units as you would like to, as well as your newly gained 4 individuals from the thieves. And as you move yourselves, I'd also request that you establish which group you're going to be in by putting a colored ring of sorts around them and keeping track.
But won't that mess up the healing rings?
You
You
put
can
2
actually
colors.
stack all.
So Norhel wants to know how the party feels about trying to push out and hold the paths that the road goes through, or whether or not we should focus our efforts on holding like the rivers around the city. So one is a little bit more defensible than the others and more fallbackable.
Would it make sense to try and hold in front of the bridges with our foot soldiers and then have archers on the far side of the bridges to help them when they get into melee while keeping our cavalry either on the far side of the bridge or in the wings? So if the soldiers and archers have to fall back, the cavalry can hit them as they cross the bridge.
Yes, I think that's probably the most sound strategy. We can't push out too far.
We'll have to have specialty units that are able to go for enemy archers so that our foot soldiers don't get picked off.
And I imagine you guys have seen by scrolling in, you can see the names on all these soldiers and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm.
So we just mark one that we're controlling.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, yeah, Clique is gonna jump on Tatharja for this fight, I think.
Pick your color.
Norhill's in the dwarf melee unit with the blue ring.
Click on Tartharja.
He's purple.
I guess Jarzak will hop on this Iron Falcon.
Is that what he's gonna do?
As well as the orcs are gonna turn and attack the people around. I'll be with one of the melee orcs.
Hmm.
I think Anton's gonna stay back with one of I think the Corey folk for now.
Okay.
I'll be in the color. I'll just be.
Everyone else feel free to move these guys around. I'm just spitballing mostly.
I think this battle will work best if people select sort of their separate groups that they want to be in charge of. And then that way, when it comes to turns and things like that, we don't have to like have people be like, I don't know, what would we have the thieves do? If one person decides to be in charge of the thieves, I think that might make life a little bit easier. Same with the elves and everybody else.
I mean, do we want to split up responsibilities like melee, the archers? Klika Dragon Adventures ballistas, I guess, or siege.
Hmm.
Because I imagine most of the melee is gonna move and do the same thing, and all the archers will probably be shooting down at the same ish targets.
I guess we need to decide now if we're gonna try and fight a defensive battle or like pushing, like sweep the field battle. Like if we're fighting
mean-
defensively, then we're gonna just always be trying to keep our archers guarded, our melee just, holding lines in choke points. But if we're gonna try and push out, we can do that as well. It'll just be a matter of, keeping an idea of what's going on the greater field and what we're protecting.
Yeah, considering that we're probably facing a bigger force than we have, fighting a defensive battle might be more intelligent. But that's just Norhill's dwarf strategy talking.
I'll go along with what you guys are doing. Hinton's more the peaceful route. But he can be offensive. So.
Did I hear you right that you're hanging out with the people of the quarry, Dale?
Yeah, I'm just more like I'd rather keep an eye like how everything's going behind the city walls. Like I feel kind of bad not being on the front lines, but at the same time I'm like I'd rather be at easy access here just in case. Because I feel like at some point Klika's gonna be flying.
Yeah, you could move the quarry. I mean, the people of Glory Wake into the city walls and the people of the quarry out.
Oh my god, I'm clicking the wrong thing. 1 second. I'm clicking the map on Zoom. Ooh.
In that case, why don't we move some of the quarry folk out, and then we'll move the Glory Wake people in.
Why don't you give Norhill some quarry folk to command over by this bridge on the wing here?
But
It's
the
feeling kind of light.
pink highlights the healers, because that's like half our healing team. It just got moved to inside the walls.
Right.
We can.
I mean,
we
hey,
can-
I just figured it'd be weird if Ancient of Glory Wake is like, hey, Glory Wake people, I know we've been cool, but
Peace.
I'm gonna let you fight without your biggest leader. I'm
I
gonna
mean, we
hang
could
out
put
inside the
we
wall.
could put one of the glory weeks on the front lines. I'm just
Sure.
not sure if it's smart for me to be on the front line. I could totally go on the front line with them.
Hey,
I
you've
mean,
got fireballs and heals, man.
What are you gonna do on the back line? Yeah, that's like the real question.
You
Yeah,
I
also
think Ronnie's
don't.
just scared.
You also don't have to be in the very front. You could be like an archer team or something. So you're
you
a
could be
little
supportive.
further back, and that way you can like lob fireballs and stuff still.
Yeah, maybe I'll go with the. Maybe I'll hang out with the dwarf archers.
I mean, we could always convert one of the groups from Glory Wake into archers. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, there's also the Amerothian Rangers.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like for some reason you want to be with everybody but the humans. You're just like small people, dwarves. I'll take orcs at this point. Here, I found some archers over here. I'm swirling them for you.
Maybe I will just go with my people up front. Dang it! I'm not
I
good at
think this
this.
isn't congested looking. Oh, Tartharja. Oh,
Hi,
don't forget
Tartharja.
Bacalot Gelp is here.
Ooh. You forget
The hill troll.
Yeah, he's a specialty unit along with the monks.
Just gonna be whipping fucking wombats at people.
Combat, wombat, combat!
See, what do you guys think about the elves hiding over here in this forest?
What's the magic
Sure.
missile thing? Is that just like mages launching magic missiles?
No, it's like a weapon of mass devastation designed by the gnomes, where they have a giant. It's like a game, the game Portal, except they drop a giant heaping fiery ball of refuse and then just have the other portal over the enemy. So it's like a giant dumpster launcher, but it's actually more of a dumpster dropper.
But
Maybe
also
you should go
knowing
over
the
in the
gnomes,
tower.
it's one, untested, two, good percent chance to just kill everyone using it. You know? That in my
I'd
mind
say
at
That
least.
maybe-
really intrigues
Yeah,
Jarzak.
so maybe get it off of the city wall and like put it in the tower or something where it's gonna get a lot of good range.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, because the tower doubles the range of whatever's in it, right?
Indeed it does.
So that gives the magic missile launcher a range of 1200.
Yeah. Which, using our handy dandy measuring tool, is quite a distance. It makes it quite the target to go after, however.
Hold on
Yeah,
one
but
second.
that starts to bring our enemies into charging range.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, I was gonna say, if we have the elves positioned in the forests that they are gonna know as well as they do, and then maybe have some of, because these are near the magic missile tower. I'm assuming this terrain, the sort of grayish, is like rocky or mountainous. It's not exactly like
it is.
clear line of sights for everybody. If we have the dwarves in that area, like between like the elves in their home territory of the forest and the dwarves in their home territory of the mountains, we might be pretty okay-ish for a bit.
Moorhill and the dwarves are happy to go fight in the mountains. Somebody else
boy.
feels confident holding that bridge.
Spearhead over here. Oh boy. Oh, and then the monks show up with Bacalop and the goblins. That really is a hodgepodge team over there, isn't it?
That's Klika, baby.
Yeah, Klika's leading all of like the random
Yeah,
allies that we happen to pick up.
those-
Jarzak will make orc melee group go with you too.
Just special squad over here.
yeah, just fuck
Okay.
it, the rainbow team, a little bit of everything. We don't quite
So-
know what our flag is, but Klika's on a dragon. The dragon is melting.